Coming at you from the Steel City, you're listening to Poor Man's Podcast, Pittsburgh's premier comedy podcast. Your weekly dose of humor, hosted by Chris Hopper and with a new special guest each week. And here's your host, Chris Hopper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Poor Man's Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Along with me this week is a little bit of a different lineup, but really the original lineup from Poor Man's Podcast. Along with me this week, we have Jeremy Hopper, who you may know as Sports Guy J.P. How you doing today, sir?
Great. How's it going? I'm very excited to be here at the studio for the first time, and it's excited to be back on the air.
Yeah, it's nice to have you back on, and joining us as well, we have the Egghead. Egghead, this is the first time you've been down here as well.
Yes, it is, and I'm glad to be down here. It's a very nice setup.
I keep saying that every single week, and I never get tired of it. It is the coolest place. I can't recommend it enough. We're here at 565 Live in Bellevue. They do comedy here on Thursday nights. They do live music Friday and Saturday. And I can't recommend them enough. And then Grill 565 upstairs is delicious. JP, you had lunch there today.
Yeah, so I've had the pleasure of trying one of their meatball sandwiches today. Great. The bread was what made it the best part. It is like crunchy but soft at the same time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Their fries here are incredible.
Yeah, fresh cut. You can't beat it. I've had great beer battered fresh cut, but today's fresh cuts, I think were, top notch.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're on Bellevue news, we have an important date for us coming up. August 6th, we have Rhythm and Brews in Bellevue. I believe there's 15 different local breweries. There's local musicians. All the shops are going to be out there. Bellevue has some really awesome shops. So definitely stop down for that, and we'll be there. We'll be recording live. August 6th, get your tickets now. They're more expensive day up, so definitely do that. And then tonight, one of our bigger shows. We have a legend in our midst. I am so excited. We have Rick Sebak, who we all know, JP, that we grew up watching Rick.
Big fan. We're very familiar with many of the documentaries. Pittsburgh A to Z, Kennywood Memories, the whole thing.
Our aunt was a kindergarten teacher, and we kind of grew up with the WQED stuff, and we saw that all the time. And this is as big as a show gets for us. So I am super excited to get into all that. But how about we get into some of the, actually, before we get into the beers, I want to talk about next week. Because August, we have all comedians in August. We have a great lineup. First week, we have Aaron Kleiber is coming on. Then we have Mark Shimkitz, Maddie Malloy, and then we have Seneca Stone and Chrissy Costa to end it out. We have some really good comedians on there. A lot of alliteration with the names as well. I just noticed saying that. But let's get into the beers of the week, shall we, gentlemen?
Absolutely. This is the part I've been looking forward to the most.
JP, we'll start with your beer then.
Okay.
Tell everyone what you have tonight.
So what I have here tonight is called an OG in Bubbly Space. It is actually a tart shake beverage, orange puree, tangerine puree, and it says some milk sugar and vanilla.
Is it like a thicker one? You said it's like a tart shake.
So yeah, it's a little bit like the orange juice blend, but it's thick. And
yeah.
Tart. The tart flavor. It's more of a
little
lighter
viscosity.
sour taste.
Yeah. And Egghead, what do you have this week?
I have the Swisshelm Park by East End Brewing. It is a hazy IPA with Nelson Sauvin, Simcoe, and Strata. I'm not going to lie to the listeners and pretend I know what that means, but I do have to say it is pretty tasty. I'm not an IPA connoisseur or anything like that, but it's definitely one of the ones I've enjoyed.
I believe JP's has that Nelson Sauvin in it as well from when I was doing some research, because that's kind of a strange name for a hop. I mean, I'm not, I am a hopper, but I don't know that much about hops. And that name stuck out to me. So I'm trying to learn more about that.
Yeah, mine comes from Cinderlands. I don't think I mentioned that. Local brewery. I really like the can and artwork about it too. It's like
I'm glad you brought that up, because Cinderlands has some of the best artwork on their cans. I think they're really, really cool every time. And speaking of cool cans, let me hold up my beer. This week, I'm going from Strange Roots. It's called Zomp. It's just a regular IPA, and it's definitely pretty good. We were talking about the labels. Cinderlands always has cool ones. 11th Hour has cool ones. Hop Farm has cool ones. East End's doing all the neighborhood series. Those are really cool. But I think Strange Roots might have my favorite labels. This one, I had that Screaming Tangerine, which I think was like a citrus hazy IPA. JP actually recommended it to me. That was delicious. And then I had another one that had like a Viking on it. But every time I've gotten a drink from there, it's been delicious. And Shay, she had one called Serrated Kiss, I think. And she highly recommended that. But we're going to have to rank our beers. And I know Egghead is familiar with our ranking system. But for the people just tuning in today, we use a ranking system based on Guy Fieri terms. We do the Guy Fieri Richter scale of flavor. Starting at 1 star, we have Gangster. Number 2, we have Out of Bounds. Number 3, Shut the Front Door. And number 4, the pinnacle for your beer flavor. We have Flavor Town. Let's start left to right. Egghead.
I think I'm going to give this a Shut the Front Door.
Oh, okay. There's no shame in Shut the Front Door. That's 3 star. JP, you want to go over yours then?
Sure. I find it to be a very good tasting beer, but I'm gonna go Out of Bounds. I think, yeah, it's good, but it's not great. I'm not like huge on the tart flavor.
Yeah.
Just a touch I like. I think it's a little bit overpowering, but I like that you do get a little bit of a taste of a natural orange juice flavor.
What's your go-to style for a beer?
If I'm like basic, I would say just like a general, like general lager, or maybe a Miller Lite or a Stella if I'm feeling fancy with it.
Oh yeah.
Or
if you want to drink with the pinky out,
right? Or if I have been on like a bit of a sours craze right now, so I do like a lot of like the Prairie Brewery.
Don't Stella have like their own special chalice to drink out of?
Yeah. I've seen on the commercials. It's it looks like a church chalice, like you said, and it's clear. Beer always looks so much better in a clear glass, too.
Well, you're kicking me while I'm down.
Awkwardly shaped glass, too.
You're kicking me while I'm down because we normally drink out of, I have like this flight board that has like the perfect hourglass kind of thing, or like tulip rim or whatever, and they're perfect for these beers. I washed them out, put them on my counter to remember, and walked right past them. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to do it. But, JP, I have a picture of the can up there. It looks like, just like almost like a sun. I guess it's an orange in the middle, but it looks like kind of a sunset.
Yeah, with like a purplish outline. Purple and orange is blending.
Yeah, it looks like southwest.
I mean, the can's definitely shut the front door, but the taste, I'd say, is Out of Bounds.
Oh, yeah? Okay. I like that. And then for mine, I'm going shut the front door, and I'm almost edging on Flavor Town because it's really, really good. I'm going Shut the Front Door still. And like I said before, it's so hard for me because I just think I hold Flavor Town with such esteem high above. Like, you have to crush it. And they do. It's really good, but I'm going to go Shut the Front Door.
Mm-hmm. And I can confirm that I have tried that beer as well, and I would say Shut the Front Door is definitely the fair assessment.
Good. I'm glad we're copacetic on that. Now, we're going to talk about some of the stuff to do in Pittsburgh this week. We have the wonderful women from Stuff to Do in Pittsburgh. They are going to tell everybody some of the best stuff to do this weekend. So let's listen to that.
Hey, Yinzers. Let's talk about what's happening this weekend. First up, we have Yinzer Palooza at PNC Park. That'll be July 29th. And, of course, it's going to be so much fun. It's the Pirates against the Phillies, so you know that's a great rivalry. And there's going to be a pregame pierogi eating contest that you got to participate in. And then after the game, there's going to be a performance by Pittsburgh's very own the Clarks, so don't miss out on that one. Also, there's going to be a great concert at Hazelwood Green. It's free. It's July 31st, and it starts at 5 p.m., so don't miss that one either. Also, the Hills District Arts Festival is going to be July 30th and 31st. There will be lots of food trucks to purchase food from and lots of kids' activities for them to check out. There will also be Goat Fest PGH, and it'll float your goat. There's going to be goats, like petting zoo, and games for the kids, and it's at Southside Park on July 30th. Have a great weekend, guys.
Well, there you have it, everybody. The wonderful women from Stuff to Do in Pittsburgh. Always killing it every week. Definitely click through their weekend guide. They always have the best events, and they have like the links to get the tickets. They make it super convenient. They have the address, so it's not like, oh, these are the things to do, and then go figure it out on your own. They have everything set up for you. JP, any of those stick out to you?
I think that the Goats Fest would be the most interesting.
Yeah.
To see, what types of games they're playing.
It says that it's at Southside Park, July 30th from noon to 4 p.m. There's live music, working goats, which I don't know what that means. I guess maybe they like walk around or something. But there's a petting zoo too, so I don't know what a working goat versus the petting zoo. I guess you'll have to go to find out. And then there's a goat-themed game called Scapegoat, which I like a pun on that. Scapegoat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that seems like the most fun part would be I just want to know the process and how they play that game. What types of goats are they using? They're using children. How many goats?
Yeah,
I have a lot more questions than answers. I think.
Well, can you ride a goat? I don't think you can ride a goat like a horse or a
kid
mule.
might be able to, but I don't think they're big enough for like a fully grown adult to.
Are baby goats also called kids?
Yes.
Or am I thinking of something?
No, I believe you are correct.
Okay. Well, yeah, there will definitely be kids there, JP.
More ways than one.
Yes. And then it says petting zoo, artisan market, and tree adoption. So that all sounds interesting.
I think that we got a pretty good set here for stuff to do in Pittsburgh. I think Yinzer Fest or Yinzer Palooza. That's going to be everything that's fun and good about Pittsburgh if you want to get together for that. And
everything
Arts Fest is
Pittsburgh.
always good.
Pittsburgh will probably lose to the Phillies, and that'll be the beginning of that. They said it's a rivalry between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, which I agree in hockey and stuff. But can you really be in a rivalry when your team is like garbage for that long? Like, do you think, as a sports guy, JP, do you think like how Pittsburgh just beat up on the Browns? I mean, historically they have, but like in the early 2000s and stuff, they were like the Browns Steelers rivalry. It was the Steelers Ravens rivalry. Like, there was really no rivalry.
Right. It has to be competitive or else you lose some of that element.
There has to be, a 50-50 kind of toss-up. Like, the Ravens could have beat the Steelers in any of those playoff games, and the Steelers could have beat the Ravens. But when you're 4-12 or whatever, and you put out a different quarterback every week when you're the Browns, like, it's not really... I mean, Roethlisberger had the most wins in Cleveland Browns Stadium or whatever,
right?
Until Baker Mayfield just passed him.
Yeah, and plus the Philly rivalry is, like, in hockey, they're in the same division.
Yeah.
Where in baseball and football, that was not the case, and
right.
I feel like it kind of takes away from
I think the football is probably the least rival. Like, they play the Eagles, like, every 4 years, maybe. They'll play them in the preseason occasionally, but, right. You rarely see...
Funny fact, Pirates actually hold the head-to-head over the Phillies in terms of win-loss record.
This season or
just
forever?
Throughout history.
Well, the 20s Pirates were better than the 20s Phillies.
Do you know that the Pirates were in the first World Series? I saw that today.
Yeah, them in Boston.
Yeah, they lost in like 1903.
Yeah, and it's probably gonna be another 100 and something years before.
yeah. I guess we'll see. They're supposed to be on the up and coming, which is what we've heard since I was born in 1990.
They also beat Philly last time. They played 6-0 head to head.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of looking on what's positive.
Well, hopefully they just play the Phillies all season then, because they're not, too much more than that. Hill District Arts Fest. Anything you see food trucks at, I'm always interested in. Anything with local artists and stuff is always very cool. And then, speaking of local artists, that concert, Summer Sounds, that's in Hazelwood Green. And it seems like they're doing a lot of things there. They have, like, movies. I want to say last week they did a movie. They did, like, an Encanto showing. And then they have, I guess, different musicians. It says Funky Dogs Brass Band. I think they might be headlining. And they spell dog D-A-W-G, so you know that they're cool.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah, it's July 31st from 5 to 8.
The only way they'd be cooler if they were dogs with a Z at the end.
Yeah, there has to be another way to that funky. Yeah, funky definitely. Brass band. Yeah, I like it. So maybe we'll stop. Maybe we'll do a Poor Man's Podcast show from there. Probably not. JP, let's wrap up the stuff to do in Pittsburgh because everybody loves Sports Guy JP and his picks. So we're gonna talk a little football because we have the football training camp. Steelers training camp starts tomorrow, right?
Yeah, starting tomorrow. I'm interested to see. It looks like the most competitive position right now is going to be seeing who's going to start at left guard. Are they going to kick Kendrick Green over, or are they going to start with Kevin Dotson, who's been coming off an injury? So there's like the only position battle, I'd say. And I'm at the quarterback position. We'll see what they do there.
Who do you think? Do you think they start with Mitch in the beginning of the year and then phase into Kenny Pickett? Or what do you think?
It's Trubisky's job to lose. At the moment, they actually have Rudolph number 2 on the depth chart. But I think it's really going to end up being Trubisky at 1, probably Pickett at 2, with Rudolph coming in and out at 3. Maybe they don't dress Pickett initially because that was the plan for Roethlisberger. And then Batch and Maddox both got hurt, which put him in the lineup. So I'm thinking maybe just to keep Pickett off the field and let him learn the system, they'll put Rudolph in it too, and then try to work him into that second.
I see them like saying that now, and Rudolph too. I feel like that's almost like a PR thing. I don't think that they have any faith in Mason Rudolph.
It might be that they just want to keep Rudolph around in case they do need him.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, I think
maybe if there's an injury in training camp and then something like that, but I don't see going into the season.
And they have to be high on Pickett to take him in the first round when Malik Willis didn't go until like the 3rd.
Yeah, I mean after Pickett, yeah. I mean I don't remember ever a draft since I've been around where quarterbacks weren't fond after.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, we're coming off a very strong quarterback year from a year ago with Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson and all them, and we're heading into a strong class next year with Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. So I feel like the Pickett pick to me is more of a lateral move.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily love it. I love that he played ball here in Pittsburgh, and that there's no weather adjustments he needs to make or anything like that. Like, there's a team in an organization that knows Kenny Pickett. It's definitely the Steelers. But I look at it as I could give you a bike today, or you could wait a year and get a car.
Yeah,
and the Steelers took the bike.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see how it plays out. What do you think they should have taken a different position in the draft altogether then?
Yeah, I would have gone Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa. Yeah. I think he's going to wreak havoc at the center position. And ironically enough, he goes to Baltimore, who loves to just run that ball.
I love Baltimore's draft.
Yeah. Baltimore, I think, had
him and Kyle Hamilton. I think they drafted at 14.
Mm-hmm. Edge rusher from Michigan they added, who was a first rounder grade, and then he got hurt. So,
do you think? Sorry, I'll let you finish. Then I'll ask.
Okay, I was going to say that. And Travis Jones at nose tackle from UConn, graded mid-second round by a lot of experts. They snagged him in round 3. So I think Baltimore has rejuvenated where they are, and they got guys coming back that are going to be healthy.
Baltimore's they're a well-run organization. As much as we don't want to think that. Do you think Pittsburgh fans would be as happy with the quarterback selection had Kenny Pickett gone to Maryland?
No.
Or are we excited because he went to Pitt?
I think it's a combination. Well, mainly because he went to Pitt, and like I said, with the weather factor, it's an easy transition. He's played here all this time. But again, like, he was a 4-year starter, but he didn't really blossom till his last years.
Well, a lot of people can compare that to Joe Burrow, kind of. The last year, not that it was his senior year, right? He went out early. But
the thing is, like, I do see a little bit of comparisons between Pickett and Burrow. It's just I see Joe Cool, Burrow has composure in the pocket. I see a little bit more panic in Kenny Pickett's game rather than Joe Burrow's. I think one thing Kenny does really well is he's mobile enough, but keeps his eyes downfield.
Yeah.
But it's more about fitting the ball into the tight windows. I don't see yet the way Mitch Trubisky is definitely more confident at throwing the ball into those tight-fitting windows.
Yeah.
But that can also lead to further turnovers. Pickett's more conservative for the football, I see.
Yeah, I definitely see Trubisky starting and kind of him playing until there's a reason for him not to. But I don't think they're going to let him go. I think they're going to be tough critics on him too.
Plus, Kenny Pickett's an older quarterback. I mean, he's 24 at the start of the year. Trubisky's only a few years older than him at 28 when the season starts. I think you could. I mean, Trubisky is second overall pick. He's been to a Pro Bowl 2 times, made the playoffs with an organization that didn't support him. I think that there might be more left in the tank from Trubisky than I see in Pickett.
He definitely has the pedigree. He's second overall pick, like you just said. I think Chicago is a place where quarterbacks seem to go to die, other than Cleveland. Who was the last good one? Jim McMahon?
Yeah, and he won a Super Bowl.
It wasn't he was good. He was good enough.
Yeah, he had the best defense probably ever in a single season, and maybe the best running back ever.
Yeah.
Run first offense.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that concerns me about the quarterbacks and the competition is Kenny Pickett last year at Pitt averaged 3.919 seconds per attempt. That tied for third lowest among all quarterbacks in the FBS. And now he's come to the Steelers with Roethlisberger, who had the quickest release and an offensive line that's still rebuilding. Pickett's holding onto the ball too long, and it's not going to mesh well.
But does Pickett have the mobility to allow him to hold on to the ball more? Because Roethlisberger was a tree. He had to get rid of it because he couldn't move.
Compared to Roethlisberger, yes, but compared to NFL athletes versus college athletes, I'm going to say no.
Okay, fair enough. Let's get into some of the record projections before we take a break and come back with Rick Sebak. Let's start with the Steelers, and then you have 3 like quality picks that you think people should look at going into the season.
Yeah, so for an over and under win-loss total, I have 3 picks I like, and we get into the Steelers as well. Steelers, they set at 7.5, which I think is fair in where I would set it.
It's 17 games, right? Because I feel like I always forget that. So it's going to be 17 games for 5 years before I'm used to it.
Yeah, so they're sensing a 7-10 or an 8-9 year, which is where I see the Steelers as well. I would say 7 wins, so I would take the under.
Yeah. Especially with the kind of uncertainty at quarterback. Like, they have, I think, the highest paid defense in the league. And they definitely have some studs there, but, you know, who knows?
They're very star-driven on the defensive side of the ball. T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, and Minka Fitzpatrick obviously being the focal point of it, but you're one injury away from any of those guys to not having a guy in the secondary, not having a pure pass rusher. I mean...
And when your offense is questionable, that's obviously key to have the solid defense. I mean, that's how they still had a winning record with Duck Hodges playing quarterback a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, they were, like, scoring off. That was when Minka Fitzpatrick was, like, picking them off, like, regularly, right?
People are saying, too, that they're expecting better things from the Steelers of a quarterback who is more mobile, more fit for the Matt Canada offense rather than Roethlisberger was. But I don't know. I watched the fourth quarter to many games last year. Ben came to life, I think. His just, like, football IQ, the way to manage a game, especially against these teams in the AFC North.
Yeah.
You know, he found a way to win football games. I don't necessarily know if Trubisky finds ways to win.
I don't even think it was his mobility as much as it was like his arm wasn't what it was. Like, he couldn't pass the ball downfield with regularity.
And he didn't have time.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Oh yeah, but I still, I mean, you look at Brady's arm right now. It's as good as anyone's. Like, it's insane. I mean, not as good as anyone. Josh Allen and Herbert and Mahomes are all better. But like at 44, I've never seen a quarterback with an arm like that.
No, and I think Pro Football Focus graded him the best quarterback in terms of arm talent last season.
All right, let's get back to the record thing, though. You said it was 7 for the Steelers. I feel like that's going to be pretty close. I would even go maybe on the under.
It's a growing AFC North.
I mean, every team is one quarterback injury away from being garbage.
Right.
And the Steelers, like we said, we do have kind of a lateral move if something were to happen to Trubisky. I mean, Rudolph has played a few games, so he has the experience. I just don't necessarily find him as a quarterback of the future either.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's get into your value picks, I guess.
Sure. So 3 ones that stick out to me. This is through FanDuel, so anyone knows. We're in Pittsburgh. Legalize gambling. It's great. Don't encourage you to do it if it becomes an issue, but like I say, if you can do it responsibly, these are my picks I'd encourage you to go for. First one, Dallas Cowboys. I'm taking the under here. They're set at 10.5.
Okay.
I see a growing division in terms of the other teams, but not Dallas. Philly, I think, has improved more this offseason than anybody, and they were a playoff team last year.
What's your take on Hurts? Do you like him?
Hurts, I like Hurts. I think that he's not a polished passer, but a lot of his natural talent in the run game and what he does is from a leadership standpoint, a coachability standpoint, factors in greatly with Philly. Philly scored 30 points minimally in 7 games last year. They led the NFL in rushing despite not having a running back that gets away. Hurts led their team in rushing. I think that there's a lot of tangibles there.
Wow. I didn't know Hurts led the team in rushing.
Yeah, he had over 700 rushing yards, and there's a lot of coachability there, and I think that there's areas to grow that I like about Hurts. And not to mention, he's never had a dynamic offensive player with him that hasn't been on the offensive line.
Well, we'll see what Smith and Brown do this year.
So I see Philly growing as a very good force in the NFC, which is going to slow down Dallas. I see Chase Young will be back for Washington to rush the passer.
Although Washington does have a lot of off-the-field issues.
They do. I think it's been a dumpster fire, like, behind the scenes.
That's how Washington is run.
Yeah.
It seems like it's always run like that.
But they also added Carson Wentz, who I think is an improvement to where they were. Not that he's great by any means. He also is familiar.
I feel like Carson Wentz is like worse Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where
Like
I would
he's
rate
like good, but like at least Kirk Cousins, like I feel like you're in it. Like I feel like he's in it. I feel like Kirk Cousins wants to win. I feel like Carson Wentz, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
I mean,
questions about that.
he seems like almost textbook washed up. Like he was very, like I thought he was going to be really good when he was in Philly, and then just kind of
After the injury,
went downhill from there.
yeah, after the injury, it just wasn't what it was.
He's like slightly better Mike Lennon.
So I do see a improved Philly and Washington team, but I also see Mike McCarthy's under a lot of pressure and almost an unfair expectation, I think, in the organization. I think him and Jerry Jones just aren't seeing eye to eye, and they're looking for a way to lure Sean Payton or somebody else there if they can. And not to mention, like, that they've lost Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson in the past game. Laurel Collins and Randy Gregory are gone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of key departures here. And Dallas, the past few years, they're a great collection of talent, not necessarily the best football team.
Yeah.
And Trayvon Diggs isn't getting 11 interceptions this year. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to be getting those turnovers.
He's one of those guys where it's like he gets a ton of picks, but he kind of, it's not like he's shutting everyone down.
Right.
Like he
Yeah,
gives
well,
up some
He
yards.
gives up a lot of big plays too.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be coming this year. We'll be seeing a lot more of exposure because he's not going to be reeling in 11 balls.
Yeah. So you like Dallas under for that?
Under 10.5. 10's a very high number. I'm going to take the under. And
Okay.
that division's so inconsistent. The winner of that division can get away with 9 games.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to your second one, I
My
guess.
second one, I'm staying in the division. This one is mind-boggling to me. I'm going under hard. Giants are 7.5.
What have they won? They still have Danny Dimes, right?
Danny Dimes, yeah.
Who'd he ever be? His best play and his career was a catch.
Yeah, or the run where he tripped over his own foot.
Yeah. He's almost like the Giants version of Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, so 7.5, and get this, the Giants haven't won over 7.5 games since 2016. Since Daniel Jones has been there, they haven't come near 7 wins.
Yeah.
They've, as a matter of fact, 2 of the past 10 seasons, they've won 8 games minimum. PFF graded
Or maximum.
them. Yeah, maximum. Sorry about that. PFF graded them 31st in total offense and 25th in total defense last year. Their best player, Saquon Barkley's never available.
Yeah.
Kenny Galladay was a letdown this year. Offensive line continues to struggle. We see some promise with Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal at the tackle positions potentially, but like we said the same thing when they brought in Nate Solder and all these other guys. Offensive line there has been an issue since their Super Bowl runs. It's like
Sean O'Hara.
it's Chris Snee and all of them are gone. It's Giants have just not addressed the offensive line. Saquon Barkley was a reach, not because he's hurt, because you shouldn't pick a running back that early.
Who's more of a risk, Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey?
I think McCaffrey's a better ball player, and I don't know. He just gets there's such high volumes in the position of where it is that you could see any injury coming. I think McCaffrey is probably slightly more prone to injury, though.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Kind of has the higher.
Barkley is just
Ceiling, lower
built
floor.
like his thighs are the size of me.
Right. Yeah, Barkley's just I feel like a stronger athlete. That's what it is.
All right, so we have Cowboys under, Giants under.
Giants under. Giants also only NFC team found a Pro Bowler last year.
No. Yeah, they're not a good team.
And I think they have potential to be the worst team in the league. And 7.5. I was surprised. I was thinking before I saw it, it'd be like 5.5.
Yeah.
But 7.5. That's an easy under in my opinion.
All right, let's get to your last one.
Third and final pick. We touched upon it briefly, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to take an over here on 10.5 for Baltimore.
No, a lot of people are up on Baltimore this year.
I'm up because they're coming back healthy. The Super Bowl hangover for the loser is real. Like it's happened multiple times. Cincinnati, I think, has taken a back seat this year. They're going to be competitive and in the playoffs, but not as dominant.
Yeah.
I mean, once you get on that playoff run, you look great, but like
You see a lot of teams though, like come back, they're not as good, and then they get to the playoffs and they turn it on.
Right, that's exactly what I saw.
Like the Chiefs do that sometimes.
Like Vegas had a shot to take him out, but like there's couple questionable calls fall in Cincy's favor. They advance. I mean, that's the reality of the game. Cincy was also one of the healthiest teams last year.
That's huge every year.
So are the Rams. That's who wins Super Bowls. Tampa Bay the year before, super healthy, and then they collapse in the Rams game because they're hurt everywhere.
Yeah.
Baltimore to start the year, out 3 running backs, 2 corners. Lamar missed some time. They finished 3rd in the NFL in rushing despite playing with guys off the street.
Believe me, I had Ravens running backs on my fantasy team. I know how little they played.
And despite all this, they finished with and above. I think they finished 8-9, 9-8 around there. They were competitive up till the final week of the season, and that was with all of these injuries. They're the best, well-ran organization in the division, in my opinion, including Pittsburgh at this moment.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's just built different. They had the best draft in the NFL, like I said, this past year, and they have a 3rd-place schedule. That's nice.
That's huge.
So, they're playing the Falcons, Jets, Giants, Jags, and Panthers all this year.
Yeah.
Not to mention the division could go...
Plus the Steelers, plus who knows what's going on in Cleveland.
Since Joe Burrow's injury-prone, too. Like,
I think Jamar Chase might be the best receiver in the game. Or like he will be in the next 2 years.
Yeah, but Marlon Humphrey is a great corner, too, who he didn't have to face a single time last year. I'm interested to see what happens. That secondary is built specifically to beat Cincinnati. I think.
Plus, we'll see if people, catch up on players.
They
see they learn about them, and they have some tape on them now.
And they get to play New England and Miami both in September. Belichick struggles in September. Dolphins look different with a new coach. We'll see how they are in September. They might be able to steal a couple wins early.
All right. So for everybody, one last time, we have
Cowboys under 10.5. Giants under 7.5, and I'm going to take Baltimore over 10.5.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Write it down right now. JP's picks. Let's take a break now, and we'll come back.